Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Rizka Femilia and I'm from Accounting Managerial at Polytechnic Negeri Batam. Okay, today I will present my research. The title of my research is Does the Novelty, Advertising Value, Relevance, and Privacy Concern Affect on the Online Impulse Buying Tendency? 4.0 era, technological development are marked by the digital economy, artificial intelligence, big data, and robotic. Digital economy is economic activities that utilize information, digital knowledge, modern information, communication information technology. E-commerce is one of the digital economy. We can use an e-commerce to carry out buying and selling activities using the internet network. E-commerce can make an easier transaction. Impulse purchase account for 40% of all online spending. This shows that impulse buying represents customer behavior. The concept of novelty, relevance, and advertising value are introduced as the effect of impulse buying, but they are inversely related to privacy concern. Customer online information is collected for data-driven efforts, but there is no guarantee for its security. Customer perception of advertisement that are considered relevant affect the online impulse buying tendency. Marketing strategies carried out such as advertising affect the online impulse buying tendency. In this research, we use 4 theories. The first one is social influence theory. There are 3 keywords in this theory. The first one is obedience, receiving influence because of getting a positive response from others. And the second one is identification. Identification is like the behavior to create satisfying relationship. And the last is internationalization, adopt behavior due to content that match personal value. The second theory is novelty categorization theory. This theory said that in general, humans have curiosity about new things. There is a close relationship between repeated exposures and positive influence, so it cannot be concluded that novelty is a bad thing. The third theory is online impulse buying tendency. This theory said impulse buying is usually unplanned. Like we buy something but we don't think more about this thing that we buy. Impulse buying is a behavior or trend that is driven by external influence. Impulse buying is immediate and little consideration of alternative options. Last theory in this research is social media advertising. There are 3 activities of this theory. The first one is media maintenance. We regularly post content on social media and it's scheduled. The second one is social media endorsement, using a public figure with a lot of followers for advertising. And the last is social media activation, create unique activities to improve WOM or word of mouth. Okay, now we move to hypothesis development. Impulse buying is also a response to novelty. This statement is supported by empirical evidence from research by Yu and Bastin in 2010, which find that novelty is the most critical factor influencing consumer impulse buying. Research of Hausman A. at 2000 also found that there is a positive relationship between novelty as an indicator of impulse buying tendencies. The results of previous studies are also in accordance with the theory, which say that humans have a tendency to know new things. Based on the description above, the hypothesis is proposed. Hypothesis 1 is novelty perceived by customer has a positive effect on the online impulse buying tendency. The second hypothesis, there are 2 important engines in advertising value, namely informativeness and irritation. Informativeness refers to the extent to which advertising can provide information to viewers. Irritation occurs when the advertising message conveyed can disturb the viewers. Customer perception of advertising value can also influence the tendency of impulse online purchases. Impulse buying can be triggered by heuristic process such as whether a product gives rise to the urge to buy or not. Next, social media ads created by studying the online activities of customer and tailoring the advertising content to the needs and interests of the customer based on their browsing history. This result is customer feeling that the ads displayed are personalized and relevant to what customer think. This statement is also in accordance with the results of previous research by Dodo and Wu in 2019, namely Perceived Relevance explained the impact of personalization on the tendency of impulse online purchases. Perceived relevance effect attitude change the effect. The description about the hypothesis is advertising value has a positive effect on the online impulse buying tendency. The last hypothesis is there are two types of routine internet activities. The first one is consumption of online information, and the second one is opening emails from unknown source. The consumption of information refers to viewing news, health information, product description, and reading email and financial account information. The vulnerability of the occurrence of privacy problem caused many users to be reluctant to buy products online. Research of Dodo Wu 2019 says that privacy problems tend to arise from the use of individual information, whereas impulse buying consists of spontaneous purchase without carefully consideration. So, this makes it difficult to establish a relationship between privacy concern and online impulse buying tendency. Because security is also a key variable that can influence customers to make a purchasing decision. Based on the statement and the result of previous research, the research argues that privacy concern has no influence on the online impulse buying tendency. Based on this description above, the hypothesis is privacy concern has a negative effect on the online impulse buying tendency. Next, research method. This research is a type of quantitative research. The source of data used in this research is primary data. The instrument used in this research is a questionnaire. The questionnaire consists of two parts. The first part is content and the second part is the respondent data. The research questionnaire used 5-point Likert scale. The sample used in this study amount to 108 respondents. The sampling technique used is non-probability sampling with the type of purposive sampling. Samples were taken in accordance with the criteria used in the study. This research was conducted at Polytechnic Negeri Batam. The object is student of Polytechnic Negeri Batam with an age range of 18 and 24 years. The data analysis technique used multiple regression analysis using SPSS25 software. Descriptive statistical analysis will be used in the study. The classical assumption test that used in the study is multicollinearity and heterokedasticity test. The next is the result. The population data used in the study are the active student at Polytechnic Negeri Batam. The criteria is student with an age range 18 until 24 years, as many as 108 students or respondents. Okay, next is descriptive statistical analysis. As you can see, this one is the first variable is perceived novelty, and the second one is the second variable is advertising value, and the third one is about the third variable is relevance, perceived relevance, and the last one is about the fourth variable is privacy concern. Okay, next is multiple regression analysis. Previously, this study has tested the classical assumption test, normality test, heterokedasticity test, and multicollinearity test. The result of these tests are normal or free from problems. Testing research hypothesis using multiple regression analysis, that is processed that is processed through the application of statistic is ICAESS-25 software. The author has done testing with SPSS that are attached on the following table. The table as you can see. Okay, next, hypothesis test. The first hypothesis is novelty perceived by customer has a positive effect on the online impulse buying tendency. Based on the result of the hypothesis in table below shows that first hypothesis is not supported. That is, novelty doesn't have a significant effect on the online impulse buying tendency. This is because novelty doesn't encourage people to make impulse purchases online. The results of the study are in accordance with previous research Dodowo et 2019, which state that present novelty cannot predict the impulse to make impulse purchase. Novelty is enough to be an attitude or change, but not enough to encourage purchase. The second hypothesis is advertising value has a positive effect on the online impulse buying tendency. Based on the result of hypothesis testing, which can be seen in table below, it shows that second hypothesis is not supported. Test result can be interpreted that advertising value has no significant effect on the online impulse buying tendency. The results of these tests are in line with previous research Dodowo et 2019, which states that advertising value cannot be ascertained as the determinant of the tendency to make impulse purchase. The third hypothesis is relevance perceived by customer has a positive effect on the online impulse buying tendency. The results of this hypothesis test generated in the study indicate that third hypothesis is supported, which means the relevance or suitability of the perceived customer for advertisement, products, and perception have a significant positive effect on the online impulse buying tendency. The test results for the third hypothesis are in line with previous research Dodowo at 2019, which states that the perceived relevance has a positive influence on online impulse buying tendency. This result is also reinforced by the theory of Kalman 1958, which says that internalization occurs when system users adopt behavior due to the content, which they find appropriate or relevant to their own values. The last hypothesis is privacy concern has a negative effect on the online impulse buying tendency. Based on the result of the hypothesis testing that has been carried out, it shows that the fourth hypothesis is supported. According to Koiro and Dobler at 2007, this privacy security problem can occur when performing activities such as viewing news, healthy information, product description, and reading email and financial account information from unknown source. The extent of this problem make customers to make purchase online. The result of this study are strengthened by previous research Donatan and Mulyadi at 2019, which says that security is also a key variable that can influence customer decision in making purchase. Customer will consider before making a purchase so that impulse purchase don't occur. And here is the result of hypothesis test by the SPSS-25 software. Okay, that's all about my presentation. I'm Anisha Rizka Femilia. Want to say thank you for your attention and assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.